Ahoy, friends. It's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
Well, hello, everybody. What is happening? It is Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m., and you know what that means. It's another fantastic, fun-filled episode of the Dennis and Andy Show. That is us, Dennis and Andy. Andy, that's me, the good-looking one, and the guy next to me that just threw up a gang sign. Again, what is with the... Stop with the gang signs, Dennis.
Jesus. Can't help it.
Yeah, I know.
But it is Wednesday. It is New Comic Day. It is great to always talk comics with everybody. And we got a great show lined up, Andy.
We do have a great show lined up. John Porton is in the house. Hello, Mr. Chemo, Dan Genovese, Past Master Dan, lots of people here. Randy Howell, hello. Randy's posting links like a madman. Thank you very much for that, Randy. And Past Master Dan, thank you too. JJ, oh, so many people. Just a big, fantastic hello. We want to dive in right with our guest that we have today to kick off the show because we've got him for a limited amount of time. Eric Weathers, hello, Tarks9. So without further ado, let's see, what do I have here that I want to use? I like this.
Certified Badass.
There you go. Ethan, the Certified Badass. How's it going, brother, man?
Hi, fellas. How are you?
Doing good. Your mic sounds a little low.
Does it? Does it sound a little low?
Yep. Hold on.
Bitch. You know what? Hold on a second here. No,
I think I got it, yeah.
Man, this is. What if I do this? Is that better?
That's perfect.
Yep. You're good.
How's it going, dude? How you feeling?
Can I be honest with you? I'm sitting on my foot right now.
Why?
Struggling with sciatica still.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like I'm sitting Indian style on one of my feet, and it, just to kind of, because what it does is it compresses the nerve.
Yeah.
In a way that makes it like not hurt like hell, and also have a little bit of a cough, a little bit of a cold. Now I don't mean to bum you guys out. You guys are here to talk about comics. You don't want to hear about me personally falling apart right in front of you.
Nah, dude, it's all good. My neck has been killing me for weeks now. I've gone to the doctor. He gave me some pain stuff. If that doesn't work, I guess an MRI might be in my future. So, it happens.
What does MRI stand for?
That's a very good question. What does MRI stand for? Do you know?
Let's turn it over to the
radiological imaging.
Yeah, something imaging. There you go.
Okay. Hi, boys.
I don't know. I've had one before on my leg, not my whole body, though. So, it is what it is. I tore my ACL about 15 years ago playing softball.
What does ACL stand for?
ACL stands for something that connects in your knee that hurts really bad when you tear it. That's my limited knowledge. And the doctor said, well, we've got two choices. We can fix it, or how athletic are you?
SOL.
Right.
You know what that stands
basically.
For?
Yeah, I know what that stands for.
S out of luck.
Oh, you can say shit out of luck. This is an adult show.
On your show. The kids watching. Look, the kids just got home from school. 3:00. The kids are anxious to learn about the comic books. They tune in to their favorite comic professionals. That's me and you and Dennis.
Yeah.
And together, we're making we're writing the comic books that make the whole world sing, drawing them.
It's true. Well, we're going to start off question-wise. Dennis has a question about CYBERFROG history. So. Take it away.
Yeah, I was always curious. I know you got in with CYBERFROG. You got a great body of work that you've done. But how did you get into? I don't know the actual origin story of how you got into doing CYBERFROG and how that led into it.
Well, I mean, I needed to do something. You guys, how did you get in? How did you break in? What were you doing? Like, what did you do that was so great that you broke in? I had to get in with frogs. How did you get in?
Me,
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
you know my story. I went to the Cubert School, and in my third year, Bart Sears asked me if I want to tag along to go up to DC to show my samples off, and I said, of course. And I went up to DC with him, and he basically would introduce me to a few editors, and then just leave to go talk to who he was working for, which was Andy Helfer at the time. And I talked, I think, Brian Augustin, Mike Carlin, God, I'm blanking on a couple of the other guys' names. And, they critiqued my stuff and said, come back in a couple of weeks with new samples because we like what we see, but we want to see more. So
that's what Andy told you?
Andy Helfer was one that said that as well, too, yeah.
Did you say, what the hell fur? To him?
No, man. I was like,
come back
yeah,
later.
All right,
what the hell
it.
fur? That's what I would say to him. I'm sure he's heard that before his whole life. What the hell fur,
sure.
Andy Helfer?
So that's
come back
that's
a little
what
later.
I did.
What the hell fur?
What the hell for?
Andy.
Yeah. So I know that's what I did. I went back up 2 weeks later, and a few of the editors were honestly, they were kind of impressed because they're like, you actually came back like 2 weeks later. And I said, and this is when I didn't realize I was a little bit on the spectrum, but I am, and my OCD and stuff. And I was like, well, that's what you said to do. So I did. And they're like,
are you watching Love on the Spectrum right now? That show, speaking of being on the spectrum?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's a dating reality show for autistic guys and gals. Yeah. And I'm really rooting for all of them except for one of them. But, it's a good show. Everybody's watching it right now. Love on the Spectrum. These guys, it's autistic people trying to date. And they're all, it's very amusing. It's very good and heartwarming. They don't really know what to do. They've just seen Disney movies. You know what I mean? They're sort of what they do. Autistic people script. They don't really know. They don't know how to interact with each other, with other people. That's one of the things about autismism.
Yeah.
Optimistism. So what they do is they sort of pretend they do something called scripting, where they recite things that they've seen in movies or TV. They've got it all memorized. And just watching these people come together has been precious. I hope you will watch it. Love on the Spectrum on Netflix.
I will actually have to check it out. I'll see if I can get my daughter to watch it since she is on the spectrum and she's 20. I assume most of these people in it are what, 20s?
They're like 12, 13.
Oh my God, not that young.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
No. They're adults. Yeah, they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
And they've never had adult relationships before. And it's important that they learn how.
All right. Well, yeah. I'll check it out.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix? Okay. Yeah. My daughter's watching Love is Blind right now, and she's trying to get me to watch. I'm like, nah, don't know if I can do that, where you wind up dating guys and girls and you never see each other. You're always on a wall, and you get to know each other. And just through your voice conversations, you wind up picking the person you propose to marry.
Yeah, but you can always tell when someone's fat just by their voice. Like, fat people have a special voice, and you can't tell me blind people can't figure that out. You talk to someone on the phone, and they're like, they have a hot voice. You're like, oh, you're probably pretty hot. But then black people talk like this, right? I mean, I've seen that in South Park. So you're trying to date somebody who's overweight, and you're like, how are you doing? My name is... And by the way, my name is Ethan Van Skyver. Like, oh my God, you're morbidly obese. They would know that. They wouldn't even have to touch my face or do anything like that. They could tell from my voice. So Love is Blind, but it's also probably still fat phobic no matter what. No matter what it is.
Dude, I'll tell you the one funny one was they had a girl and she was like, oh yeah, my friends. And he's like, well, what do you look like? And she's like, well, I've been told that I look like Megan Fox. Oh. And the guy's face instantly started beaming, and you could see he's like, oh, little heart showing up in his eyes. And he's like, wow. And we're looking at her going, girl, you really look nothing like Megan Fox. But now this guy's got Megan Fox in his head.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. But I mean, again, how would anybody know? Like, oh, I look like Megan Fox. Who cares? What about how do you sound? People say I sound like Megan Fox. Maybe that's a little bit better, but how would this guy know? He doesn't get to touch Megan Fox. He doesn't get to touch her face. How does he know what she looks like? What is he, fucking action figure? How do you know what Megan Fox looks like when you're blind? And then to say, for somebody to compare themselves to Megan Fox, and then for that other blind person to go, oh, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Right.
Well, I was watching. Did you ever watch True Detective?
Most of them are lying. Most of them aren't even really blind. They're just trying to get on TV. Stevie Wonder faked being blind most of his career. He did. Like, there are a bunch of instances where, like, the microphone was tipping over and he just grabbed it like this.
Oh, Stevie Wonder?
Yeah. We've seen that.
I've seen that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Have you you ever watched True Detective on HBO?
Yes.
Have you watched the new season that just ended with Jodie Foster?
No.
Well, it's not that great, so don't save your time. But there are shots of Jodie Foster in this. It takes place in Alaska. So there are shots where she has on, the big furry cap. So you can't really see her hair, and her collar's pulled up. So you really only focus on her face. Dude, I swear to God, she looks like Michael J. Fox, or vice versa.
What, Michael J. Fox now or Michael J. Fox
No,
then?
Now.
Michael J. Fox now.
Yeah, because of the age and the wrinkles that he has and stuff, because how old he is, and I think she's around the same age. And I was like, oh my God, because Jodie Foster has like no lips. She has like very paper thin lips.
Well, that's
right?
Lesbians. That happens to lesbians. Lesbians do lose their lips.
I believe it.
I don't know what that is that they eventually like a straight line and angry, like jagged, if you're going to draw a lesbian, especially like an older lesbian, that's what you want to do. You want to make her a little bit overweight and lipless, and then also huge lines like all over her face, like, big,
well,
deep.
You just described Jodie Foster. But yeah, it's not good. It's, she's the lead, which is fine. Jodie Foster's a great actress. Having her lead a show is fine. But then her partner in this, the other cop, it's this, strong black woman, and she has piercings on each side of her cheeks, like where her dimples are. And it's just, every time she's on screen, it's so goddamn distracting because she has these little silver studs where her dimples are.
I'm just so tired of black lesbians. I really am. Because, I'm not so tired of, like, white lesbians. I think that's okay. But, like, the media is trying to foist black lesbians on society, and I'll tell you why. I think they're trying to send a message to black people to stop reproducing. And I really think this is happening. No, I mean, I know this is controversial, and I'm sorry. I know your show is not controversial. But everything that you see in the media is social engineering. So everything is social engineering. So what you're seeing now is you're seeing gay black men, and like not just gay, but like effeminate, like non threatening black men, and then butch lesbian black women. So in other words, those men ain't coming near that vajayjay, and it doesn't matter because the ladies aren't giving it up anyway, and they're trying to make these things seem cool and like normal and the way that like all black people should be, in order to curb the population. I really do believe that's what's going on. It's social engineering. In order to curb the black population. I think everybody should reject it. If you are black and you're watching right now, I need you to get the fucking, and I need you to probably impregnate somebody or get pregnant yourself just to tell these people to go F themselves. Anyway, that's what I was thinking.
There you go. All right. $2 Pete Callahan. Thank you very much. They're all fake blind people. Don't fall for it. I knew it. Damn it. I knew it. I like Dan Genovese. Where the hell to go? Oh, wait. Oh, here you go. Dan Genovese. So how about that CYBERFROG origin story? So circling back, seriously, though, like, I know you started CYBERFROG when you were, what, 19? 18, 19?
Yeah, I was 19 years old. Yeah.
So you graduated high school and you wanted to draw comics, and you just kind of took the bull by its horns and said,
not all of us were rich kids like you who got to go to college with Joe Kubert. Some of us.
Hey, dude, when I went to the Kubert school, it was only $8,000 a year. So, I mean, it's not dirt cheap, but I still took out student loans. but thank God it was only that much, so I could pay those back quickly.
Yeah, and I didn't $8,000. Are you kidding me? Like my dad, like I'd like to go back in time and kick my dad in the nuts. Like he didn't have $8,000 to put me through school. I had to do that myself. I just put $8,000 on my son's teeth. He needed like braces. I took care of that. I was like, where was my dad? My dad didn't do that for me.
No, I didn't have braces.
Well, I mean,
you're talking about Hunter has braces now.
Yeah, he he had the what are those Invisaligns?
Oh, okay.
And he's still getting them, but he's like, yeah, like I looked at him, I said, dude, I was like, your teeth, you look like the Grinch, and he said, what? And I said, that's the whole thing, like you need to get braces. So here's what I'm gonna do, and he was like 18 or 19, maybe he was 20 when I did this. He's 20, he's out of
Yeah.
Basically, I could have kicked him out in the street. I said, son, it's my job. I was your father to send you out into the world straight and white. And he said, what do you mean, Dad? I said, that's what we do around here. We're straight and we're white in terms of, our teeth. So I need to I need to pay for your braces, your Invisalign. And I'll take care of it, son. This is my last gift to you before I push you completely out of the nest. Get your teeth straightened out. And then we'll do like a whitening thing. You need to be able to smile for the ladies like your father.
Oh, yeah, man.
Look at this smile.
Yeah. Look at that. $1 million smile. You know, when Dennis kicked his kids out of the house, he had a saying that his parents lent down to him, which is breaking the plate. Isn't that what it is?
Oh, yeah. We break the plate when the kids get kicked out. And once it's broken, you don't move back in unless you're moving back from Korea, which she did. But she's moving out next weekend again. So it was a short stint. So it was a good one.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, your parents should pay for some of this stuff. They really should. And Pete Callen's right. Pete's in the chat saying, my dad didn't pay for shit either. It's horrible.
Nah, my parents would pay for stuff. I mean, I didn't need braces. My brother did, so he got them and stuff. My dentist was like, yeah, you got a space between your teeth like Dave Letterman. It'll close up. You'll be fine. It never did. I
don't notice it. I don't really see a space between your teeth. That's not.
Yeah, I try not to smile too much. So, when I talk, I like to angle down so you can't see it and stuff. It's there. It's not as bad as Michael Strahan.
Why don't you just go get Invisalign and get it closed up? It would take like 4 months. It would cost maybe a couple grand. See, this is why. I mean, we're adults and we don't take care of ourselves. I take care of my kids. I take care of my kids. What about taking care of me? What about me? What about my needs?
I've been married for 29 years. My wife doesn't give a crap, and it's not worth the money. Dude, when I got married, I still had hair. But the only reason I had it is because I was using Rogaine every day. Wow. Yeah, and that's the prescription. Back then, it was prescription only. And I was using it every day, and the doctor said, look, here's the problem with Rogaine. If you stop using it, you lose it. So if you're going to go down this road, it's going to cost this much a month. And when you feel like you're comfortable with losing your hair, just stop using it. So my wife and I get married, and she knew I was using it. Obviously, before I got married, we got married, and I said, look, I really don't feel like paying for this every month. Do you care? She's like, no. And I was like, fantastic. So I stopped using it. About 2.5 months later, I was back to losing it.
It does work. Gail Simone told me I needed Rogaine back in the 2000s and something. She said, why don't you just start using Rogaine? I said, you talk like a hairdresser. She's like, that's because that's what I am.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a little kind of a moment where, Clark Kent revealed himself, as Superman, to me in a way, or Kal-El, Supergirl, whatever.
Did you suggest Nutrisystem to her?
Wouldn't
maybe
dare.
A little Slim Fast, something like that.
I wouldn't dare, Well, she was free to comment on my baldness, as somebody who was an expert on, hair, but for me, I'm somebody who enjoys a little food myself, so I would never look at Miss Simone and say to her, anything bad, nothing. I'd say,
yeah, I hear you.
Do what you do.
Oh, Randy Howell, what? Andy's just 300 subs from 3,000. Well, there you go. Well, let's do it. So I get there. $3,000 though. No, it's 3,000 subs. I appreciate that.
How many subs? You need 300 subscribers?
I guess. I don't keep track. but it'll get there.
Do you make any money from the YouTubes? Are you monetized?
Just a little bit.
Little
pittance. Pay for some beer maybe during the month. Maybe some gas in the car. That's all. Little pittance, but that's okay.
Why don't these people super chat you? Don't they understand?
I don't know.
I'm here talking to the chats here. How many people are watching right now? Like 40.
191.
191. How come none of them are super chatting you? I wish that they would. I wish somebody would finally reward Andy Smith with super chats like he deserves. And I don't know why they won't do that.
I don't know. We get them every now and then. We get them every now and then.
Not sitting on my foot now. All right.
Oh, there you go. Have you always had this sciatica problem, or
no?
Is it
I just got it. I just got it 3 weeks ago, and
first
it says
time.
It's gonna. Yeah, first time ever. I've never had it. 3 weeks ago, it arrived, and I'm reading all about it. I'm learning what to do to manage it and deal with it. They say it's going to last for 5 weeks, so I'm thinking for 2 more weeks. And they said, you know what you could do is you could go to the gym and like work out and stuff and keep moving. So that's what I did. 2 days in a row, I've been at the gym. I'm on the like treadmill, just taking it easy, just brisk walk.
Sure.
On the treadmill. And then like Andrea will be right next to me and she'll say, "Hey honey," and I'll be like, "What?" "Oh fuck," like turning your spine a little bit will set it off again. You turn your spine to look at your wife, and it's like, "Ah." And then I'm on the treadmill. I'm gonna fall down, and my underpants are gonna fall off or something like that. I'm gonna be filmed. I'll be on TikTok.
Look at this. Effin Book says, "So greedy, Ethan." $3. Well, thank you very much. Pete Callen, $2. Ethan peer pressuring the money out of my pocket. I'm gonna have to buy Ethan a beer. Tampa Detractor Android, here you go. Go buy yourself some more money. Do you buy yourself money? Omar Comics, beer time for $5. Well, thank you guys. Very much. Oh, wait, here another one. EVS, drink Turbo Force and put in 45 minutes. Drink.
What's Turbo Force?
I don't know.
Hey, is there a drink that I could have? Is there like something? Hot tea. Whoa, hot damn. Yes, ma'am.
I've never heard of that.
Sounds great. I never would have thought of that.
Vespa guy's Uncle E, a Jewish grandma, working that guilt angle like a pro. There you go. No, he's not. He's looking out for his bud. That's what he does. Turbo Force is awesome. I've never heard of Turbo Force.
I haven't either.
What the hell is Turbo Force?
It's a healthy, natural energy drink alternative. Turbo Force is truly a game changer. The different forms of caffeine, both short and long acting, really keep you going. The combined with the other ingredients, and this blows other energy supplements out of the water, in my opinion. So it's an energy drink.
Well, there you go.
Now we know, and knowing's half the battle.
That's right. Now,
it's meth. It's crystal meth. Oh,
it sounds like it. It also said, what did it say about InfoWars? It said something there.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
By Alex Jones. Yeah,
I guess that's what it said next to it. So I wonder.
Alex Jones is an alpha male, and I would whatever he takes, I would probably take. That guy's a fucking fire plug. Like he's a stout, sturdy guy. Like he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, dude, he is so full of energy, vim, and vigor, if you will. It's not even funny. That guy. Yeah. I don't know where that guy gets all that energy from. Dude, I don't know where you get it from. Here's a great question. How many hours do you literally sleep a night or a day? Or because I know you don't have a normal schedule. So out of a 24-hour period, what are we looking at here?
Well, Andy, I like to sleep most of the time, in fact. You know what? Like when I'm sick, especially now, not feeling so well, I like to sleep most of the day. I'm trying to draw, but sciatica hurts. And then also I have a cough, which is just terrible. It's just awful. So, lately, let's see, like, I'll go to sleep around this time. I'll wake up around 7 o'clock to begin Trash Cast.
Yep.
I'll do Trash Cast until about midnight, sometimes later when Shane Davis has a book to close out.
Sure.
And then I'll go back to sleep again. And that's my life. And then I'll wake up in time to get the kids to school, do a little drawing. So I got to draw. I break my sleep up into 2 parts, 4 hours each usually.
Oh man, I just don't know if I could do that. We got that one already. The Jewish grandma, grab that one. Kratom is a good way to deal with pain. Google it. Kratom was all hot there for a minute, but then once CBD and vaping and stuff and edibles got basically legal, didn't that kind of put Kratom to the side? Because I know what Kratom is, but hey, Andy, Dennis, you're great. Thank you very much. Leg kick. Oh, glad you're into fitness again.
Fitness pie in my mouth.
Yeah, baby. All right, so I want to know if you've seen. I got something, an image I want to show you, and I want to know if you've seen this. I just discovered this, Ethan. This is before I show it. I'll set it up. This is from a Charlton comic. It's a backup story from around 1966, 67. The name of the character is The Image. Now, I'm going to show it. Look at his chest symbol. Can you see that?
Shit. Yeah.
And the name of the character, I don't know if you can read it up here. It says in the caption, The Image.
The Image, yeah.
And
that reminds
then,
me, you know what's weird? Like, that reminds me of Image Comics and the Image Eye that was, I know you're not thinking this, but that was created supposedly by Rob Liefeld and launched the Image Comics boom in 1992, 1991, 92. That's what it looks like to me a little bit, but I might be the only one who sees that.
It's you know, like you said, until you mentioned it, like something about this when I saw it a couple weeks ago and saved it, I was like, I just don't know what it is. I have to go to an expert, and that's why I thought, I bet Ethan will know. And man, you nailed it. And I remember Rob saying that he was the one that came up with the Image Eye and all that. But then I listened to his podcast, and he says he's been into comics ever since he was a little kid, and he brings up all these great back issues and stuff. I don't know if this is a coincidence. I just was like,
nothing is a coincidence.
It's got, oh, wait, oops. That's a great picture, too.
He's building a wall to keep Mexicans out of his yard.
Right.
Which to me
I mean, you know, if it's good enough for Mark Zuckerberg, it's good enough for him. Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting when I saw that. Literally, I was just scrolling through some stuff a few weeks ago, some old Captain Adams that Steve Ditko did, and there was this backup feature that included a guy named The Image, and that was his chest symbol, and I thought that was rather interesting.
It is weird. Why is he taking his pants off or pulling them on?
No, he's getting his costume on.
Oh, he's putting it. Yeah, he's putting on his pants.
He's getting ready to go fight evil.
He's got the red boxer briefs. That's what supervillains wear, or superheroes wear, I guess, in the Troll universe.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, created by Jim Aparo. So.
Oh.
Yep, created by the great Jim Aparo. So there it is.
I like Aparo.
Oh, I've always liked Jim Aparo. Did you ever get to meet Jim Aparo in your career?
No, I never did get to meet Jim Aparo. I never did. I met Herb Trimpe. I met Will Eisner in my day. Of course, I met Stan Lee several times. Will Eisner's probably my biggest get, because I met him right before he passed. Let me see. Who did you meet? Who were the best people that you met?
I met Will Eisner when I was working on Quasar for Marvel at a convention in Florida. I met Stan Lee just once when Marvel used to throw the Christmas parties and they would send out invites and whatnot. You'd go up.
Oh, yeah.
Murphy Anderson, I think, is a pretty good guy. Herb Trimpe was awesome. Honestly, I had a great conversation with him. Sat next to him at a convention. He was telling us about his biplane, and he'd bang out like a couple pages of the Hulk in the morning, and then go out and take his plane up and stuff.
Yeah,
you know. Would you? I think about drawing comics back then, and while the page rate was, I mean, for the time, maybe it wasn't great. Or maybe it was, in the 60s, but because they didn't have to worry about style so much and it was just get it done. And you hear a guy like Herb and these older guys just saying like, oh yeah, I'd get my couple pages done, then I'd hit the golf course, or, like Herb said, I'd go up in my biplane and stuff.
Yeah, I fantasize about the quality comics days. Like me, in a big open warehouse with no windows, in the middle of summer with Jack Cole,
Oh,
and
yeah.
all those guys, sitting there slaving away in the 1940s, with horse flies 3 inches long flying around our heads.
Dude, no air conditioning.
No air conditioning. Me just sitting there like, oh God, I gotta make my $10. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just hacking out some shit. It's basically what I do now, but I just get paid way more for it, and I'm in way more comfortable circumstances.
Oh, definitely. But those guys were also wearing ties to work and stuff, which I can never imagine. Like, I'm drawing comics for a living. I'm actually putting a tie on.
Yeah, everybody wore ties back then. I mean, people dressed up to go to the movies. It was a better time. People are animals now, degenerates. But back
Dude, look at plane flights. Remember pictures of flights back in the 60s and 70s? They were all decked out really nice. The food they were serving. And now it's like you said, you got people sitting there taking their shoes off and putting their feet in the aisle and stuff.
They might as well be transporting pigs or cattle. I mean, it really is disturbing. But I'm telling you, back in the old days, back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, yeah, people really cared, man. People really tried hard, and people appreciated things. What changed? What the hell changed? Why, what happened? Because back then, life was better, at least it would have been for me. And we got to go back to those days. We got to go back.
Well, Scott Adams posted a picture on X, Twitter, a couple weeks ago of just, downtown New York, people walking around. But the point of it was, and this is from the 1950s, everybody was like moderately sized, right?
Yeah.
There was nobody that was like Lizzo walking around.
No, of course not.
At that point.
They'd be in the circus. That's the whole thing. It was really shocking. We're talking about Fatty Arbuckle, first victim of cancel culture.
Yeah.
And I'm reading about him very sympathetically. I'm like, oh, I can relate to this guy. This is really something else. Like, accused of all of these terrible things. And he was completely innocent, railroaded by the SJW media. Actually, it wasn't. It was the far right-wing media of William Randolph Hearst. And, I was like, oh, man, the only thing I can't... Fatty Arbuckle, right? And then I was like, what... I looked at his weight and his dimensions, and he weighed half of what I weigh. I should really be ashamed. Fatty Arbuckle. His name was Fatty Arbuckle, and I weigh 100 pounds more than he did at his fattest. I mean, it's a disgrace.
But dude, that puts him. Dude, I know how we've seen each other in person. You're tall, but I mean, if he's 100 pounds more, that means they were calling him Fatty Arbuckle, and he weighed less than 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Because you're not 300. Right?
It's like that meme, that meme from Phantom Menace, or not Phantom Menace, the Revenge of the Sith. It's like, right?
Well,
let's get caught up.
Timmy Mello, here you go. Only because you asked so nicely. Well, thank you very much. Randy Howell, Andy's at 2. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you, Randy. $5. Frankie Ramon, hey EVS, are you taking any CYBERFROG merch to C2E2 like toys, mugs, keychains, and stickers, or just comics?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but I really should have a van full of everything. We want to set up a nice table and just show all the great stuff we made. And
yeah, I was going to ask, have you planned? Like, are you driving to that, or you don't know yet?
I mean, it would just make more sense if I drove, even though I don't want to drive. Yeah. Like, I don't mind driving. I would probably drive to Chicago.
Well, you would just be able to bring the maximum amount of stuff. Because, I mean, you look how well you did at Garden State last year. Mm-hmm. I think at C2E2, you'll do even better.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, by the way, I know the show. So you are definitely doing that show in Washington in the same weekend as Garden State. And hopefully Eric's...
I don't know if I am. I don't know. I have not received any confirmation about that. I agreed to it. They came to me and said, we'd like you to do this. And I just think I was canceled by SJWs. I said, sure. He said, I'm going to send the contract over. I have not received a contract. I think people like Scott Kurtz probably reached out and canceled my appearance there. I'd like to blame him for that so I can make some super chats in my victimhood.
Sure.
Probably what happened there. It's not so bad. These SJWs cancel you. You go, oh no, like I'm going to go to a convention and I'm going to go have to get on a plane and go work somewhere all weekend, meeting people, stuff like that. And then the SJWs go, no, we're going to cancel you and make it so you can't appear there. And what happens is I go, oh no, I've been canceled from that appearance. I think I'll stay home instead and complain about how I've been canceled again and make a few $1,000s sitting on my ass at home.
Right.
It's a win-win-win, really, no matter what happens. Yeah, I do believe I do believe that probably.
There you go. I think your mic is fine, by the way. We both hear you fine, so.
Yeah. Listen, I know people have been telling me my mic's low a lot. I just don't understand.
Ask Andy about Aquaman.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Chris.
What about
Andy, why don't you tell Ethan about your awesome Aquaman?
I don't own that anymore. Do you think this is really Scott? I don't.
It's got to be Scott. He loves hanging out with us. Scott says nobody cares if you go to a con. Oh, good. Okay.
I don't know. The line last year at Garden State disproves that. Stephen De La Vega just found the last issue.
I think Scott is saying that nobody's going to stop me from going to a con, but Scott, you know that that's not true. You and your friends will definitely try to stop me. You tried to stop me from Garden State last year. I think there are some gay articles about it, but either way is okay with me. I don't care. I'm an old man. I don't give a fuck.
Nah, you're not old. We're old compared to you. I got you by a few years. Stephen De La Vega, $2. Just found the last issue of your Hulk vs. Thanos. Well, there you go. It's in trade paperback too, so you get that way. Serious man, Ethan, shut up and finish Rainbow Frog. Oh, come on now. He's working. Lake Hick, would you like me to ask SummerCon about the contract?
Yeah, you should. Everybody should definitely. Scott Kurtz says, no, we didn't. Yes, you did, Scott.
Now Scott says, do you actually have a registered table at C2E2?
Yep. I think
there
so.
You go.
I don't know. Maybe I do.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
It's not that. We're going as what are we going as, Andy? What's the do you understand what we're doing over there? Because I don't. We're doing something.
What you're talking about C2E2 with you, Shane, and John?
Yeah.
It's the big trifecta. Yeah. You're going to have from what I know, a nice big 20 by 20 booth. I think that's what I remember hearing and watching the stream or on a stream with you guys talking about it.
I'm not an artist alley,
No. You're getting an actual booth. No, you're having a separate space with all the people that buy booths and stuff. The vendors, exhibitors. You're setting up like an exhibitor.
Can't wait. It's going to be so great.
Oh, dude, you're going to have so much fun.
It'll be nice to see Shane and John, and any comic skaters that come by, old DC fans that want to stop by, that'll be nice too.
Hey, have you met John in person before?
No, I never have, and I consider him a dear friend. Obviously I've met you many times. Shane Davis I've known for years and years, but I've never met John. John is Comic Skate, and I met him through Comic Skate, and that's it.
Yeah, well, we're doing Hickory Con, which is it's just a small con here in Hickory, North Carolina, in April. So I'm going to badger Shane to say you should just come out and say hi. So,
you should come out.
Can't hurt. Squibs for $2. Who would you hire to direct the CYBERFROG film? And is it a black woman?
Sisters. Yeah, it's a black woman. Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Who would I? Who I would get? It would have to be Orson Welles. Nobody else could handle. No, you know who would be really good with the CYBERFROG film? P.T. Anderson. That's who I would like. P.T. Anderson. I say P.T. Anderson. I know normally you do these kind of introspective, sort of touching comedies and commentary on the hidden messages and all the great stuff that you do in your work. But could you do a movie about a frog from space? And maybe you'll find meaning in it. I think that'd be good. Not Vita Ayala. No, not Vita Ayala. No.
Zack Snyder, somebody said. Oh, David Williams. Brohawk said Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
now he's just trolling.
Coming full circle. Zack Snyder. Well, he'd be appropriate though, And
now here's the real question.
Good job.
Who would voice CyberFrog?
I already hired him. I got the voice. The voice is one of the Jerky Boys, Johnny Brennan. The guy who goes, "Hey, what's up there? Hey, what's up there, tough guy? Hey, sizzle chest." He's doing the voice of CyberFrog for the current trailer that I'm working on. And if there were ever an animated version of CyberFrog or a video game, I would want him to do the voice. I just told him to modulate a little bit from New York to Philadelphia. Very close, similar accents. And he's going to be the voice of CyberFrog. So that's how he sounds.
No, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Oh, there you go. Brohawk. Black Snyder. Me. So Brohawk says him. Black Snyder. Oh my God. That's hilarious. EVS is the voice of Salamandroid. Well, there you go. Who would voice Salamandroid then? Yeah,
like you're tempted to say like, the same guy that did the Iron Giant, like a big booming voice, but I'd have to really think about it because Salamandroid sounds like a puppy dog. He would sound like a big kind of friendly,
right?
He'd be patient and kind, and then only like move to anger when he saw injustice happening to his brother, his friends, his family, and then he would become more menacing. But it'd be an interesting thing. I don't think his voice needs to be like this. I would have to. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, that's definitely more of Vin Diesel because that's who did the Iron Giant.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Heather Swain?
I was going to say, have you thought about actress for Heather Swain?
Yeah, I would love. Speaking of Megan Fox, I would love Megan Fox to be older Heather Swain because Heather Swain, as a teenager, I would have to cast somebody new if we're going to do like 18-year-old Heather Swain. But if we're doing 38-year-old Heather Swain, Megan Fox is just, she's great. I would love to have her as Heather Swain. I mean, she's not a very good, she's an okay actress. I watched a movie where she was like, in survival mode because she's being stalked by people and everything. And she wasn't very good at emoting terror. You know what I mean? Like I was waiting for her to really get like scared, and she never really got scared through the whole movie. So it was at that point that I decided maybe she's not the best actress in the world, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of direction she was getting on the set. But she looks beautiful. She'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
She was in the Expendables, so it was fun seeing her go up against all the big bulky guys toe to toe with her incredible kung fu type moves.
Yeah. The Expendables go out on a mission, and she was totally made up with all the makeup and everything, barely broke a sweat, kicking all these big dudes all over the place.
Yeah, it was amazing. She was incredible.
So believable.
Listen, these young ladies, they learn kung fu. They learn to use your strength against you.
That's right.
And that's always been the case. That's how women, that is the power of women.
Randy Howell letting me know 100 away. Thank you very much.
Wow, you're going to catch me.
I'm going to
appreciate these super chats. I'm not going to do any more of these appearances unless we get super chats like these. I have better things to do. I don't have to come on these shows. You guys out there who are just like, I don't know, there's nothing to watch. It's 3 p.m. You better start paying Andy Smith. Let's get some money in here. By the way, Andy Smith has been canceled by Scott Kurtz. We need to see those kind of super chats coming in, rolling in hundreds of dollars. Oh, Andy, poor you. Why Scott Kurtz is such an SJW asshole. We need like super chats like that coming in. Thank you.
There you go. Vespa guy, since you mentioned Lizzo, has Andy shown EVS the intro clip? Okay, let me show you this, Ethan. I made this. Thank you for that $5. This I made for Aaron.
Got bigger, fat, pretty face, and a real nice figure. Shoot your shot, pull it.
Do you see how big that black one was?
So I made that for Aaron.
By the way, the super chats are rolling in now. Hail Comicsgate.
I know. Hail Comicsgate, $20. I'll steal this from you. That ain't cheap. Thank you very much, Tarks9. Really appreciate it.
Look at Scott Kurtz in the chat. Just give him money because you like his work. Either work. He's being sarcastic. He wants to cancel Andy Smith. He wants to destroy his life because Andy Smith is a conservative Republican who associates with me, which means that, you know, you lay down with dogs. How are your fleas? Do you wake up itching? Anything like that?
Nah, not at all. I wake up feeling good every day.
That's incorrect. Wrong answer.
Oh,
wake
shit.
up with fleas. You lay down with dogs, you'll wake up with fleas. So Scott Kurtz is trying to ruin his life. Everybody, please send him and his family money. Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you very much. And Kor-Drath 2 coming soon to Indiegogo. So there you go. We'll plug that later. And of course, Rainbow the Brute, you can go back. That's still your the three for cover. The triptych you guys are doing is still alive as well. So you guys go do that.
That triptych is paying for the booth that Scott's trying to cancel.
That's right. Don't put words in my mouth. Put pie in there. There you go. That we can try now.
What is he doing? Why is he being nice in here?
I have no idea. You know, who knows? Oh, got another one. Oh, 555. Here we go. Dog's fleece. Certainly, nonetheless, it is what it is. It sounds like you wrote that. Is that your favorite thing?
That is a great saying. I applaud you. My father thinks would also be very proud of you right now. His chimes are going off at home.
There you go.
Shout out to the great David Williams, who's in the chat, by the way. David Williams is doing fearsome for me right now, and it is an honor to get to work with David Williams. He's an incredible artist, and I hope he's having fun. He's more than halfway through the first issue of Fearsome, and I'm probably going to launch it. It's pretty cool because I'm paying for Fearsome out of my own pocket, and then I'm going to kind of do a little bit of an Eric July. Like, it's already done. It's not done, It's not printed, but it's already done. Pay for the printing. It's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to do that. I think next month I'm launching Fearsome, and I'm launching. And David, I need a cover out of you too. So please start thinking about that cover. You know who's doing a cover is Shane Davis is doing the other cover. So I'm going to have a Shane Davis cover, and I'll have a beautiful David Williams cover, and then also we'll do the Rainbow the Brood action figure, which I've got. I also paid for that out of my pocket. Okay.
Wow, cool.
Paid for the Rainbow the Brute sculpt out of my pocket. And I know how much it costs. We're going to try to make a Rainbow the Brute action figure this year. And possibly some Unbearables stuffies.
Oh, that's cool.
Great. Yeah.
Hey, when you wrote Fearsome, speaking of Fearsome, when you wrote that for David, did you know David was drawing it before you even started writing it?
Yes.
Okay. So then did you write full script, or did you do like old school Marvel plot style where the dialogue's not there yet, so you'll script it after he draws it?
That one. Because, like I've had the plot in mind. Fearsome was supposed to be the thing. Me and Dave Finch and Steve McNiven back in 2008, we had this plan to unionize and become kind of this package deal. We were going to go from try to shop ourselves around and work at one company and ask for like a pretty good page rate, not page rate, but book rate to work over there on our own, create our own things. And my book was going to be called Fearsome. So I've had this idea for a long time. CYBERFROG took precedence because it's just more relevant to Comicsgate to me.
Sure.
But Fearsome, got to do Fearsome. So I had this story, and then somebody said David Williams should draw it. I said, David Williams is very busy drawing incredible books with Gabe El-Taib, and that didn't work out. And I can't remember what happened. Like either Dave came to me or I came to him, but it was just it was amazing. It was the fact that he was available. So I write a plot for him, David. Like David, I'll go like page 1, panel 1. I need this. Panel 2. I need this. Little snippets of dialogue, but not much. And then he draws it. He does whatever the hell he wants. And then I go back in and script it. And I just want him to be free. He calls up with questions, things like that. But you don't want to confine him too much. You want to just kind of say, run wild, man. And eventually the plan is to maybe I'll do 4 issues of it. And then I'll just turn it over to him, from here on out. Because he's already got it. Like, he knows the characters and everything.
Oh,
he's a writer, too, obviously. So... maybe around issue 5, it's just like, you take it from here and I'll publish it. It'd be really nice to do that. If he's still interested after four issues, he might want to go his own way. But
Yeah, you never
Man,
know.
it's a privilege to get to work with him. I don't take it for granted at all. I'm amazed.
No, his stuff's fantastic. Fox Mulder, $20. Thank you. Thanks for all you guys do. Well, thank all you fans and stuff. Seriously. Travic, $5. Andy and Dennis. I double tied my shoelaces because I ain't tripping over a one night stand. Now get me into the club. Okay. Is that from a movie?
No.
Oh.
I heard that somewhere. I ain't tripping over one. Oh, that's Up in the Club. That's the lyrics to Up in the Club. If you're looking for a man with a bulge in his pants that really ain't tripping about a
Okay.
one night stand, I'd be the man who'd be something.
There you go. E, how do I get Rich to super chat hundreds?
Rich
Well, I don't know. I think he wants to know how he gets. I don't know.
how he
Play
gets
the
wealthy.
lottery.
Yeah.
Play the lottery. So, have you ever worked Marvel style, plot style with any writer, or has it always been full script? Because I know when I started at Marvel, I worked plot style the old way, but when I started at DC, it was full script all the way.
You know what? I feel like I'd be happier working Marvel style.
Oh, it's great. I did it with Mark Gruenwald and Chris Claremont that way.
Yeah, I can't remember if I ever did though, because DC's not like that. DC doesn't really
No.
let you do that.
No, well, I started at DC before Marvel, and at DC it was all full script, panel 1, panel 2, description, dialogue. But then when I went to Marvel and it was Mark Gruenwald, it was a 22-page issue comic could print out on like 5 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper because it was just a little paragraph, for each thing. And then when I worked with Chris Claremont on X-Men Forever, it was the same way. It was just little paragraphs describing each
depends.
page.
You have to trust the artist that you're working with. Like, if in terms of me writing for somebody else, like me personally, if Jeff Johns ever wanted to, had ever said you want to work Marvel style, I would have said yes,
Sure.
I do. But working with somebody else, there are a lot of newbies that are coming into Comicsgate, and you want to give them a chance, but I would have to full script for them because they're not experienced. But somebody like David, somebody like Shane Davis, somebody like John Malin, like any of these guys, somebody like you, Graham Nolan,
Sure.
I could just go, here's the story.
Yeah.
Here's 2 sentences. That's the story. You take it from there. Stan Lee style, and it would be great.
Yeah. Randy Howell, thank you for the $20. 3,000 subs. Drink. Well, I'll have a beer because after the show we always go out to dinner, so that's what I'll do. When you were working at DC, you worked with Jeff probably the most, right?
I think so. Yeah. It was great. It was really great.
He wrote full script. Did you change stuff a lot in regards to going, you know what, I'm going to add panels and stuff, or were you pretty faithful to his panel breakdowns?
No, I wouldn't have done that. Not without asking him. I would go to him and I would say things like, hey, I think it would be pretty cool if I would go to him and I would talk to him about things. I would see like little hidden messages and things that would work well with his story, like little hidden visual themes, and I would drive him nuts. Like he called me manic. He'd be like,
"Oh, really?"
Call me, yeah. He's like, Ethan's manic, and he called me a genius, but he would just be like, Ethan, call me up and just be like, I see this, I want to do this. Just buzzing on caffeine and like Entenmann's chocolate donuts. Like really into my work.
Sure.
And he was working on, like, to me, this was the only thing I was doing. It was just one of 8 things that he was doing, and that must have been, pretty frustrating for him. But yeah, I really enjoyed working with him. Yeah.
Joe Bernardo says, are you still friends with Jeff?
Last I saw Jeff was 2017. He gave me a nice huggy. This was it was after I was canceled. And I appreciated that, but I don't talk to him. I stay out of his way because I stay out of everybody's way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I really feel like, I'm radioactive. So therefore, if you want to be in my life, you come over here. And some good friends have done that, but other than that, somebody who has a whole lot to lose, like Jeff, people are already calling him a racist for the dumbest shit.
Right.
He doesn't need it would be great if you wanted to sort of talk and stuff, but he doesn't need that. He's got too much responsibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love him. I still do, and I would if he needed me for something, I would, I'd be there. Absolutely.
That's cool. So when you started it at DC, it was on Impulse, right? If I remember right, or was there
Yeah,
something
it
before
was.
that?
Impulse was. Yeah, because what happened was I was done over at Harris Comics. They couldn't afford to pay me for CyberFrog because the toy deal fell through,
Right. I
and
remember
they're
that.
like, "We'll pay
You
you a
mentioned
third of what we're paying you now," and I was like, "Ugh." So I had to go to DC Comics just to be able to afford my apartment. And I knew about Impulse because I met Humberto Ramos. It was a hot book, but Humberto had left the book. Craig Rousseau and who's the writer? William Messner Loebs. They were
Yeah.
doing it, but they weren't. They were kind of running the book down a little bit. It had lost its charm under them. It wasn't a special book like it was with Wade and Humberto anymore. And
Right.
so I really felt like I could slip in there. They had been on the book for 30 issues, and that was more than enough time. I really felt like, I heard somewhere they were looking to replace that team. So I drew a bunch of impulse drawings and sent them over to the editor, who I knew,
Hmm.
Paul Kupperberg. And they let me do a couple of fill-ins. They let me do some pinups for Wonder Woman and things like that, and just kind of, eventually hired me on as the new artist with Todd DeZago, the writer. And boy, was that fun.
Yeah,
Took a
Todd's great.
blast.
I've worked with him a few times. He's a really good writer.
Mm-hmm. Very
So
like in the Mark Wade school, but more charming. Like his stuff
yeah,
is cuter. It's funnier. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then when you were doing that, was it a natural now I'm talking about like art style because Cyberfrog was the first Cyberfrog stuff was cartoonier, kind of like how you moved into Impulse, and you mentioned Humberto. But then at some point while you were working, you made this transition to the more realistic type stuff that you're doing now and that you were doing on Flash and Green Lantern. Like, was that a conscious transition you were making?
Yeah,
Like, do
because
you
I
know what I
was.
mean? Am
Yeah,
I
of course.
formulating the question act properly?
Yeah, like Impulse wasn't a comfortable fit. Like it was cartoony, and my job was to draw like the book needs to be drawn. Like really, when you get into the mainstream, you get your foot in the door. You take whatever gig you can get, and you do
Right.
that gig the way that you need to do that gig. So I was drawing Impulse, and I was kind of like doing a super like detailed, very like a lot of super like Chinese kind of speed lines and everything, adding my own touch to Umberto Ramos's style, and, and
Hmm.
and trying to stay consistent. But yeah, like within me was like, oh no no no, I want to draw this dark superhero horror stuff,
Right.
a little bit more realistic. And I got an opportunity. Tom Pyre was another great guy. Where is Tom Pyre? Just
I don't know.
fantastic writer.
Yeah.
But he was doing this thing where a bunch of Justice Leagues. I can't remember what it was, but there was a Justice League one shot, and I had to design. If they came to me and they said the villain, you have to design the main villain. The
Oh,
main
that's cool.
villain's name was the Advance Man, and I had to draw this guy in a cosmic business suit, with a cell phone and everything. Like, anyway, I drew it, and when George Perez had to do the cover for the book, he just traced my drawing. George Perez swiped me for
Really?
the cover of my own book. He did. I was like, I couldn't believe it. So it was great because I got a George Perez cover, but I was like, you just traced my drawing that was in the style guide book or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to draw the Justice League, and that was pretty close to getting to draw like the way I wanted to draw. And then Jeff Johns was working on Stars and Stripe,
Yeah.
which was the same time, I think even the same editor over at DC. We both kind of started at the same time, and we wanted to work together on an Impulse fill-in, but it just didn't work out. And then he just he said, "Hey, I don't know, somebody was it? No, DC must have come to us and said, you want to do? They needed to keep us busy. You want to do a prestige format book? Who do you want to do?" And both Jeff and I both said The Flash.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and so they said, "Oh, great." So Jeff and I remember being in New York. I just moved to this awful rental place up in Phoenicia, New York, in the basement, and talking to Jeff Johns on the phone and coming up with Murmur. With the first time we created something together, just really, again, the two of us just keyed in and creating these characters and having a lot of fun. And we did the first, I think, Flash horror story called Flash Iron Heights, and all of those characters. It was a new rogues gallery. All those characters ended up in the TV show. I think I co-own them and everything. It was great. It was really cool. And Jeff and I kind of cemented a partnership. I said, I'm taking these pages from Iron Heights. I'm going over to Marvel. Jeff said, I'm coming with you. So we went over to Marvel, and they separated us right away. Jeff wanted to do some Morlocks thing with me. They wanted me to do new X-Men. They wanted him to do Avengers. Yeah. And we couldn't get together over there. It just wasn't. They were keeping us, like, in our own thing. So came back and did Hawkman with him, and then Green Lantern Rebirth as soon as we could. It was great. It was so fun.
Yeah, no,
working with Jeff.
I have that Justice League, and I'll have to look at it later. Now that you mentioned that about the cover, because I knew George did the cover, but I didn't know that part of it. So now I got to look at it. And I got Iron Heights when it came out too, because I've always been a Flash guy. Did you create? I don't know if you ever watched the show when it was on the CW or not. But there was a guy on the show. It was a black actor. It's a friend of mine that played this guy, Goldface. Goldface, I think. Yeah,
that's a classic Flash villain. No, I didn't.
Oh, it is.
Him. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Him. I didn't even get to draw him. Yeah, I know Jeff was working on some Goldface something or other. I think Scott, who drew that?
Scott Collins.
Scott Collins. Thank you. My God. Scott Collins, yeah, fantastic Flash artist.
Yeah,
stuff was so loose and so open and so beautiful. Yeah, I love Scott Collins.
Yeah, well, that's when Scott really started hitting his groove, was because Scott was a year below me in the Kubert school, so we knew each other, and he broke in, because I'm pretty sure he finished the school, so he got into the business, but he really started clicking when he went with that total open style, which was basically a coloring book. But the coloring was so advanced at the time that you could draw that way, and the colors could, just make it look what it is. And
the colors would put these like grays and pastels in there. And I remember, like, at first I saw it and went, I don't like this, because it's like I like detailed stuff,
Right.
But then he did this. I remember one of his first issues was like this, had a 2-page spread of Keystone City leading into Central City, and it was still open, but everything was there, and it was just so beautifully drawn. And I was like, okay, I'm with you. I'm going to read everything you do now.
It was like Jeff Darrow, where Jeff draws like that.
Yeah.
But he just throws everything in the kitchen sink into a page. I mean, it's like, it's not just a street scene. It's a street scene with the dude passed out. You got different types of body types of people walking by. You've got all the cables and lines and stuff hanging off the buildings. So you don't need to throw in a lot of rendering in blacks, because that would just confuse it. So
yeah, it works. And it was so quick and consistent. He was able to stick with the book for a long period of time and to draw some great stuff.
Yeah,
he's good.
No, Scott's another one. I mean, he did he's another guy that's like, I don't know what he's up to these days.
Isn't he still there? Isn't he still doing stuff for DC?
Not that I see. I go to the shop, dude. I go to the shop every Wednesday. I walk out with barely anything, but my daughter likes to go, so we go every Wednesday. And guys like Scott, Paul Pelletier, other like DC monthly type guys. I don't know what they're doing. I don't see their names anymore.
Yeah, I see. When I go in there and I look at DC books, it's a lot. I don't recognize too many names anymore. I just don't like it. I don't know if I don't know what happened, but I mean, and then Jeff Johns leaving and doing Ghost House or Ghost Station or whatever. What is the name of Ghost?
It's
Engine.
Yeah. Ghost something. But yeah, so I mean, I would assume now that he's doing that, he's totally severed ties with DC. I would guess.
I don't know if no, because he still owes them Justice Society, a bunch of things. I just think he took all those artists with him, And those artists, by definition, they had to have more or less severed ties because, Jeff could bounce around and do a bunch of different things.
Sure.
But, the artists can't. They made a choice. No. So Jeff, milked them of all of their big talent. All the artists that I like are working with him right now.
Dude, Gary Frank, Jason Fabok, Brian Hitch.
Got Ivan Rice. That's
Ivan Rice, yes. Because I got that one shot that they put out to Ghost Machine. That's it.
Ghost Machine.
I got the one shot that they put out that is like an anthology introducing everything. And I think that was the first time I saw Ivan Rice. I had no idea he was a part of it because I don't think he was in any of the announcements.
He came late. He decided late, He's like the Dale Keown of Ghost Machine.
Ghost Machine.
I'll never remember Ghost Machine for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, he decided to come late, but he was always meant to be there.
$10. Fox Mulder, thank you. The first book I ever saw Ethan's art in was Impulse issue where he had a Crow T robot in the background. Been a fan ever since.
I love Mystery Science Theater. Yeah, I was obsessed with it.
Well, that's cool. Who was inking you on that? Do you remember?
Prentice Tallman Rollins, who they paired me up with. And he was really good at he liked to just rule out my speed lines and everything, and he was good. He did Iron Heights too, and I think he did some of my New X-Men. They hated him on New X-Men over there. Those editors were like, we don't need this, and I think they let him ink some of it, and then they got Scott Hanna in there and Tim Townsend inking over me.
Yeah,
I was sad to see Prentice go. I really liked him. Did he ink anything else of me? That might have.
Didn't he ink some of the Rebirth? Green Lantern, that is.
I don't think did he?
I thought so. Now I think I misremembered.
He did ink. I'm pretty sure he inked some.
Because you ended up inking that too, right?
I inked the first issue by myself, and then half of the 6th issue by myself, and then we had an inker, for the rest of it. And I remember. Again, I don't like. After Rebirth, after Green Lantern Rebirth, I said I'm not going to work with any more inkers from here on out. I'm just going to ink my own stuff because, everything just looks a little bit off. You know what I mean? I really like the first issue. I really like my inks on half of the 6th issue. And then whenever I'm working with an inker, I don't think I've ever worked with an inker and been thrilled with the result. I've always been like, it doesn't quite look right.
Well, you do a lot of, I've seen you draw and stuff, and you do a lot of your drawing in the inking.
With the pen, yeah, I do.
And it's because you use a pen, which is the closest to a pencil and stuff. And I think, I'm the same way. I ink my own stuff, obviously, now, and I've worked with a lot of different inkers, but I would always push to want to ink my own work whenever I could. And, if they were tough, we already got somebody that's like, well, okay, got to get that paycheck, so that's fine. Mm-hmm. But the issue of Hawkman I did, God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. I can't remember his name. He was a great inker, though. He was supposed to do it, and then the editor, and I fully penciled the first couple pages, and the editor called up and said, oh, he's going on vacation. Do you have anybody else in mind? And I was like, yeah, how about I just ink it? And they were like, okay. So that worked out because Hawkman's one of my favorite characters, and I wanted to keep all the art. So
that's right. Yeah, I love.
And then Kevin Nolan did the cover, so I couldn't complain about that. So,
jeez. Yeah,
I gotta admit though, I think seeing Kevin Nolan ink something over you would be kind of cool because of the way you do your lighting and stuff. I think it would retain a lot of you.
I just see Kevin Nolan. I'm like, why use the penciler even there? Just let Kevin Nolan draw it because. He inks with an eraser. He leaves very little of the, of the original penciler still there.
I think it depends though. Dude, seriously, because check it. When he inked Jose Luis Garcia Lopez on 4 issues of Batman, you could still see Jose. When he inked Chris Sprouse, he inked Chris Sprouse on Aliens Wildcats, and it still looked like Chris. Mm-hmm. He inked Jerry Ordway on 1 issue of The Authority, and you were like, oh, that's Jerry Ordway, inked by Kevin Nolan. So I think it really depends on who the artist is. Like the person I think of the most with Kevin is Dan Jurgens, right? But when I inked Dan Jurgens on 4 issues of Legion of Superheroes, the editor literally told me, do whatever you want. And I said, I can do whatever I want. He goes, you can steamroll it. Just do whatever you want. It's Dan's breakdowns, handle it however you want. And if you look at those 4 issues, I pretty much did do that. You know, you see a lot more of me in it and Dan's layouts, basically.
Yeah.
So
I got to work over Dan's layouts once. It was fun.
Oh, did you really? What was it on? Do you recall?
Convergence 0. He did all the layouts and not on paper like he did thumbnails that I had.
Oh, okay. Right.
It was a strange project too. I never. So much of this stuff, like Dan Didio, I'm so grateful, was a fan of my stuff. So he would call me up and he'd just be like, I got something for you. You know, I got this idea. And I'd be like, what? And he'd be like, convergence. And I'd be like, what is it? And I never understood what he was talking about. Like, I didn't know what convergence was.
Right.
He just said, oh, you know, Dan's laying it out, so you just draw it. I was like, all right, you know. Like, Dan did the cover layout. He did all of it. And it was kind of fun. Like, it was a nice little experiment to get to work over Dan's layouts. But yeah, I still don't know what convergence was about. Do you? Like, does anybody
No,
know
I got no
what
clue.
Dan's talking about?
Well, convergence, wasn't that thing that they did to bridge the gap when they moved from New York to Burbank? Was that thing where they had like 2 issues of books? You know, they had like 2 issues of, like, say, Aquaman, and then down the cover it was split. It was like an old image they pulled, and then there was like a new piece or something.
It had something to do with the 52 Earths all coming together.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I just didn't get it. Like, Dan was always like, I think, you know, one of the things that drove Dan Didio crazy was just trying to rationalize the fact that, you know, there were like so many different versions of Superman throughout history.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And it's like, it doesn't have to make sense. Like, anybody else who didn't have like ADHD or anything like that, or some kind of OCD, would not even think about this. But Dan thought about it all the time. Like, how do we make sense of this Lois Lane coexisting with this Lois Lane and this Lois Lane? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So we got to figure out some kind of fucking mind flip, like, trippy kind of thing that explains how they all... And it would just be like one disaster. Like, just leave it alone. Like, who cares?
Well, yeah, because I thought that's what Crisis did in the 80s, was it got rid of all that.
And that should have been it. And even that wasn't really, you know, necessary. Just, it's okay. Like,
Right.
new generations come on board and they forget about what came before and what happened before, sort of. You know, it's like CyberFrog has the stuff that I did in the 90s, and people ask me, like, did it happen? You know, was that stuff canon? And it's like, kind of, sort of, but not really. And, you know, it's okay. We just move forward with the new series. And if you need to have it explained, it's like, you know, just know that CyberFrog was a goofball in the 90s. And that's all you really need to know. He wasn't doing his job very well in the 90s. And then, you know, moving forward. But if you want to read all that stuff, yeah. Did he ever, like, elbow an old lady in the face? No, he never, like, CyberFrog would never do that. But it's like, it's in the old comics, you know, so.
Right.
You know, if I were Dan Didio, I'd go back and go, that's an alternate reality version of CyberFrog, and it's like, and I just end up making a big mess, you know. So,
right. No, I hear you. We there were a couple things that we crossed over on at DC. I worked on the Claw. You did a variant cover for the Claw #1.
Oh, I did 2 of them. I did 2 covers for the
Claw.
Yeah,
you did 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah. And then I did, I guess, the regular covers. And then I think the issue of, I did 1 week of 52. I did week 39. And I think you did the 2-page origin of a character in the back of it. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I do remember getting to do your cover for Claw.
Yeah.
And just hiding all kinds of crazy hidden messages in it. I don't know if you remember this.
No, I don't. I remember the cover vividly because it was a big close up in the Claw, but I don't remember that.
Oh, well, let me show you. So
yeah, I got to see this.
Hold on. I mean, this is, you want to share my screen?
Yeah.
So here it is. This is the cover I did. As you can see, this is Chuck Dixon. This is you, and then this is me. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You've got here's Claw the Conqueror here, or the Conquered. You got an eagle in the background with a fish.
Let's see if I can. There we go.
Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit so you can kind of see. With a fish in its claws, which is sort of like in its talons, which is sort of like what he's doing here. He's got her, so I guess she's the fish in his talons. She's looking down in horror at his enormous penis with his blue testicles, which is bulging out from the side. I mean, I would do stuff like this all the time. Like, you do like phallic symbols, like worked right into the cover, and it wasn't subtle. I mean, I was never really subtle about it, but nobody really cared either. Like it's like you recognize that he's holding his erect cock, and she's terrified of it, and he's got blue testicles and everything. Nobody cared,
So then, what about issue 2?
I don't know. Issue 2 was nothing. It's just
because I don't remember that well.
Yeah.
But you did a cover for World War III. Well, I think you did all 4 covers for that 4-issue miniseries, World War III, because there were 4 different artists on the interiors, and I drew one of those.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's Keith Giffen. Rest in peace, Keith. I love Keith Giffen.
Oh, Keith was fantastic. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. But
I think
man, that was
those characters, and
that was cool.
World War III was something different. I'm thinking of 4 Horsemen. Another thing that Keith Giffen wrote.
Yeah, it was another thing Keith did. Yeah. Nah, Keith was great. Did you ever work from his layouts? You ever work with him as a writer or no?
Not that I can recall.
Because he drew everything for his artists. Well, I take that back. Towards the later years, he did just start typing everything out, like most writers. But in the Justice League days in the late 80s, all through the 90s, he drew everything out for the artists and just sent you his layouts. And they were big, Keith was a big Jack Kirby fan, so it was a lot of 6-panel grids. But Keith was always like, dude, do whatever you want. This is literally just how I write. I don't care what you do. If you want to do a 6-panel grid, knock your socks off. But he's like, I'd rather have you do you. And that's how I approached it the few times I worked with him. So
yeah, to me, he was just a super nice, very creative, darkly funny guy.
Oh yeah, dude.
Everything was violence with him, sex and violence. And he was just so great because, like, if you met him in person, you would if you read his stuff, you'd think that he was like this, like, fucking like headbanger guy.
Yeah,
just little Keith Giffen, super kind, very nice guy. I had a conversation with him, and we're like early on in Comicsgate, and he's like, I have this thing. I think it's called Slaughterhouse that he wanted to do over here. He's like. He needed money, It was like he's like I'd like to, so I was like, yeah, you should come over here and do Slaughterhouse then. He told me all about it. He said, I might do it. He never got to do it. Oh man, yeah. Get your stuff done in life, Yeah,
well, it's like Paul Neary, the artist, anchor, writer, just passed away last week. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
he was
great. A lot of greats.
Yeah. Paul was really good. Luckily I got to work with him once, so he was a good guy. Well, that's cool, man. Well, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We've already gone an hour 20. So, Alyssa, Andy, Dennis, you two chatty gals are coming to. I think you mean C2E2. Probably not. That's a heck of a drive. So, I don't even know when it is, to be honest.
Isn't it
end of April?
Okay. Oh shoot, that might be the weekend we're doing that other show anyhow. So.
I think it is. I think it's overlapping weekend.
Yeah. Dan Lawless in the house. John Malin would probably like Agents of Law by Keith Giffen and I. Probably. Let's see if there's super chats I got to catch up on here real fast.
We're good.
Super chats.
Have you been doing your job over there, Dennis?
For long as we got this one.
The first book I ever saw. Yeah, we got that one.
Yep. Yeah. Then we're caught up.
All right. How many issues of Impulse did you end up doing? Do you recall?
41, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 60, I think 57 might have been my last, and then I just did covers from there. So I guess 9 in total. And a bunch
that's
of
cool.
covers.
Oh, you know what? If I remember right, you said you drew your first issue of CyberFrog on 8.5 by 11 paper. Am I right about that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
print size? So I know you sell your work, but do you still have that?
I have some of it. I try to retrieve it whenever I see it, like on the market. You know, I'll buy some. I'm collecting some of the old CyberFrog artwork back. But no, I used to just trace a comic book outline on a piece
Right.
of Bristol board, so I'd get the dimensions right and just work on that. Yeah, and do my own lettering and everything.
So how many years since that first one came out has it been now?
It has been 31 years. 31 years I've been doing this.
I'm
And I
seeing
love it.
year 35 doing a facsimile edition of just that first book, man. They're all
Well, yeah,
facsimile
Billy
editions,
Tucci's-
all the rage, just doing the total straight up. Well, wait, did you publish that or was that under like Harris or something?
That was under Hall of Heroes. I have all the rights to everything. I could do whatever I want to do.
So you
But
could do like the full original trade dress and everything?
yeah, of course.
Oh my God, I think that would be awesome as a 35th anniversary, kind of like what Billy's doing with she and stuff. Do a nice facsimile of that first book.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want to move forward. I think I've reprinted the hell out of those books.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to reprint Warts and All again because we're completely sold out of it and people really want it. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do there. I'll wait a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's moving forward. CyberFrog 3 is important to me. It's a really human story, and I'm looking
Sure.
forward to getting that done.
Joe asked, how did you break up the drawing duties on Green Lantern between you and Ivan Rice? Why did you leave?
I
Were
don't
you guys
really-
going back and forth on it? I thought he
a
just
little
took.
bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Like what happened was, I was doing Rebirth, and nobody
Yeah.
really expected much of it, but we hit it on Rebirth. And then they'd already assigned, like the minute I started Green Lantern 1, they'd assigned Green Lantern #1, the ongoing series, to Carlos Pacheco. And I was
Right.
like, why? Like there's plenty of time for me to get off of this and roll right on to Green Lantern #1. I want Green Lantern #1. But they gave it to Carlos Pacheco, and the general feeling was that Carlos was not a good fit for that book. I mean, he's
Mhm.
great. Carlos is great. You know, again,
Yeah.
rest in peace. Jeez, we're losing
I
everything.
know.
But he was great, but he just was not. He didn't follow the energy of Rebirth into the series. So they let him do like 3 issues, and then they rolled me on to issue 4, 5, 6, I think 9. And then I got an offer to go do Superman Batman. They liked my stuff. They just wanted me to go over and do the book after Michael Turner left, Superman Batman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Seemed like a good opportunity. So I did that, and then Jeff said, come on back here and do Sinestro Core War. And I did that with him, and then it was like just back and forth, like ping-ponging back and forth all the time. Like you kind of get dragged around. And I wasn't the
Right.
kind of guy who could sit there. Like Ivan Rice is kind of guy who can sit on a book and he can do, a run of 30 issues. And I've never been that guy. I can't get myself to do that. I don't draw as well as he does. I don't draw as quickly as he does. So it's just not something that I can do. Like in order for me to get a page to look the way my pages look, it's just a whole lot more effort. Anyway, I can do maybe 6 issues a year.
Sure.
So they would ping pong me around to where they thought they could use me the best. And that was my career at DC.
Yeah. Well, I know I've seen you, do quick sketches and drawing stuff on stream, but when you actually sit down and work on a page, do you still find it like really like you need to full focus concentration? Like it's work. Because that's how it is for me still after 33 years. It's still like I need to focus. I need to be in the zone. And it's like I thought when I got into the business, I was like, maybe 10 years from now, I'll be like one of those guys that can just sit down anywhere and just bang out
Aaron
a page.
Lopresti, yeah. Like Aaron
Yeah.
Lopresti just sits there and draws.
Yeah.
And it's I look at him with envy. I mean, I guess I could
So do
try
I.
to do that. You guys get together and do Graybeards or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you're ever on Graybeards, but
No, I'm not. No, I'm not on. He has a guest like once a month, so I was on it once, but yeah.
Yeah, I just look at that and I go, I don't know if I could do that or not. Maybe I could sit in with those guys. But yeah, when I sit down to draw, like, it's a lot more effort for me than it is
Yeah.
for I think most people. And I'm not, it's like, yeah, like all of it is. It feels painful. So
Yeah.
extracting comic book, it's like squeezing an orange and getting all the glass of orange juice, and it's like squeezing every last drop out. That's what it feels like. But I don't feel alone in that. I think a lot of artists feel that way. I remember talking to Brian Boland, and he said it was like walking a tightrope. It was just an extremely stressful thing to draw for him, and I related to that a lot. I think about him saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are times when I feel so goddamn inspired. When I sit down and I know exactly what I'm doing, and I hear angels talking in my ears, and
Yeah.
I do great work. There are times when I sit down and I do work that I like my work better than anyone's work. I'm so happy with it. But most of the time it's agony.
Yeah. No, dude, trust me, I 100% understand what you're talking about, because that's how it is with me every day, is sitting down, and it's fun when it really flows like you're saying, but a lot of the time it's just a lot of focus. It's a lot of thinking about. And I think I'm like you. I just start right on the board, the white Bristol board. I don't start with like scrap paper and then light box and all that. I just pull out the paper and the script. I don't know if you do thumbnails. I will do a thumbnail of the page, but then from there I just go right to the real board, pencil, ink, done.
I see a shadow on the page before I start drawing it. I see a shadow of what needs to be there, and I just get my blue pencil out and I get that shadow down in lines. Just nothing that it looks like a bent coat hanger.
Sure.
Throwing everything together, working out the energy of the page. And then slowly start to build it, and then focus in on like one aspect of it and then build out from there. And that's generally how I work. But yeah, I can see what's supposed to be on the page before I even start it. I see it like it's almost like a gray shadow. And I pull it from there, like it's in my head already. Most of the time. Sometimes I have no fucking idea. Like there are times when I go, okay, I got to draw this sequence of something like a kid falling down a hill, and it's like I don't see it. Where is it? And it's not there. And you just have to fake it. You have to just do it anyway. And it's that's a frustrating thing. That's a moment where I beat myself up as an artist. But the stuff that's like really clear to me, like with CYBERFROG 3, there are so many like concrete images that were put there by God. Like they're just in my head. I can see them already. I haven't drawn them yet, but they're so they're so important. They're so iconic, and these images that need to be put on paper. Most of it is already there in my head. The rest of it, I just have to carve out of like fucking marble. Like it's hard. Art is hard, and I don't like I don't like talking about it too much because it sounds pretentious, but just to say art is hard and it hurts, I think is enough. And I do try to make art. I'm not a cartoonist. I want to be a cartoonist, but I'm not a cartoonist because I'm not quick or good enough to be a cartoonist. So whatever I'm doing is art because it hurts and it's meaningful, very meaningful to me. So I think it does approach something close to like art. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense there, but
I hear what you're saying. But then if somebody asks what you do you say you're a cartoonist, or do you say illustrator, or what do you say?
I'm a YouTuber. I don't want to even talk about it. Like I don't, it's like I don't like the culture of being like I'm a comic book artist. I don't like that. I don't like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is that it's like it's what I'm doing just seems like I'm doing it alone in a vacuum,
Right.
and nobody else exists, and I can't relate to anyone else ever. And I enjoyed my time at DC, but that time is very much over. I am literally creating in a vacuum. That's what it feels like right now, and it hurts. It's just very painful. But
Sure.
at the end of the day, like CyberFrog Wreck Planet, I think is the best thing of my entire career. And reading it with Blood Honey and all the addendum books, I'm really building something that feels real to me and to a lot of people who are reading it. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Kelraiser, $5. Thank you. Great show, guys. Love the comic talk. That's what I find people like this stuff. What Elemental $9.99. Thank you. Love the insight. No, I just asked because people ask me, if somebody comes over to the house to do work or whatever, because they see I'm home and I'm like, well, I work from home, always leads to, oh, what do you do? And then it's funny because a part of me sometimes wants to just say, oh, I'm just an accountant, because it would kind of end the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to be rude or anything, and I've never done that, but I say, well, I'm an artist. Oh, what type?
What kind of art?
Oh, I draw comic books.
In my 20s and 30s, my 20s and early 30s, I wanted that kind of attention.
Right.
What do you do? Well, I draw comic books from Marvel Comics, and it's like,
right.
Ooh, the stewardess or whatever. Ooh, that's so cool, and I need that. At some point, like you get sick of that. Like I don't want to have that conversation. Comics to me feel like the comic book industry feels like zombified at this point, and
right.
I'm still doing what I do. I still have to tell a story. I don't want to explain that to anyone. I don't want to describe it to anyone. I just want to put out these comics, and I want people to read them. And other people reading my comics is more important to me than anything in the world. Like, getting a book out and then having people read it and understand me is really important to me. A lot more so now than it ever was before.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, because even though, like you said, you feel like you're working in a vacuum, because, I mean, for me, this studio is not even attached to the house. It's above our garage. So I'm just up here. My wife will never just walk in for no reason, or my daughter won't, because if they need something, they'll just send me a text. But so I'm up here working, and you feel like I'm in this vacuum, but I like getting the stuff out there because you will talk to people.
But you're talking about being away from your family. I'm saying the entire world doesn't exist for me anymore. I'm talking about a different mental illness. I'm saying, like, when I say I'm creating in a vacuum, I used to be on the phone to all of these people: Mark Wade, Todd DeZego, Jeff Johns, Ivan Rice, Gary Frank. I'd be on the phone with all of these people all the time. And I'm not anymore. I'm completely cut off. I exist all by myself in the darkness of space, in the cold vacuum of space, because I've been canceled. People are afraid to associate with me, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop being an artist or stop creating. But the immediate feedback, the interacting with other artists who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, happens in Comicsgate now and then, but we're so jokey that we don't really talk about what it is that we do. We're having fun. Right. We're dealing with, whatever it is that we're dealing with. But to me, it does feel like being in outer space. It just feels like being alone in darkness and still needing to create light. And it's a whole different thing than just being isolated from your family. That's the kind of thing that you want to do when you're creating. But this is a whole different scenario. It's a whole different situation for me, and out of it needs to come light. When I call myself the human sunbeam, like jokingly, but in a way it's real. It's like I need to. It is dark. The comics feel dark to me right now, so I do need to light things up. And create something out of that emptiness, out of that vacuum that's worthwhile to leave behind. And it, like I said, and all of that is painful. None of that feels good. It feels
I get it.
Like agony,
But what I was going to say too was, though, but I think the bright side of it is knowing that when somebody gets a book that you do, or I do, or Shane does, John, Aaron, whoever, you will meet these fans that will say stuff like, I had a really bad day or whatever. I came home, your book was there, I read it, and it's what I needed. It perked me up. It made me feel good. It let me escape for a little bit, and that's what I was kind of getting to. Is that's the enjoyment I get out of doing this. Is it is painful in a way doing the work, because for me, I'm my own worst critic, and as I'm doing it, I'm like second guessing whatever. But then once the book is out there, and you get that, you get the feedback, positive, negative, whatever, at least you're making just this little dent compared to if we were like an accountant or something. Because if you're an accountant, the chances are, unless you gave somebody a big fat refund, or you got somebody a big fat refund, they're not going to be like, man, I had a shitty day, but boy, you worked those numbers and really perked me up, buddy. Thanks, man.
Everybody who's making art should feel this way. The end result of creation is that other people are happy, and the more energy you put into that, and the more you care about it, I think the greater the joy that you create is going to be.
Sure.
But you participating in that in the same way, I wonder, like, does George Lucas, not to compare myself to George Lucas, but somebody who created something, for example, that everybody really loved, and it must have been agony for him to do it, because Star Wars: A New Hope was a fucking disaster until it was reassembled, and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been very painful for him, and I don't think he would ever feel the same way about Star Wars as, say, Anna, that Star Wars girl, does, even though he's closer to it than anybody. He can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
And that's so much like what we do. It's like the idea of putting a comic book out there and people reading it and enjoying it and getting involved in it is the reason to do everything that we do, right? But we're not going to experience what other people do, because creation is so bloody. It's like, is this too heavy for you, Andy? I might be too heavy.
Me? No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Creation is bloody and sweaty and painful. And that's the truth. When you're doing something that matters, I really do believe that. So it's same way childbirth is. It's not, you've created something wonderful, but it's like in the process, it's painful.
It's not too heavy, because I have conversations with friends that have quote unquote real jobs, and they always look at it and go, man, you just sit down and draw all day, and it's like, dude, at the end of the day, after I'm done with whatever I drew for that day, a page, just layouts, whatever, I'm mentally exhausted. I always say I'm not physically exhausted. Before, when I was a teenager, I had physical jobs, doing construction and crap like that. At the end of that day, I would be physically tired, but mentally, I was fine. There was no mental tiredness to it. At the end of the day, drawing all day at the desk, mentally I'm just wiped, and I want to just kind of veg out, but I'm not physically tired. I wasn't lifting rocks or anything. And that's what they don't understand. And they also don't understand, and I give my wife crap about this still, that it's like, you can't bug me or ask me to do something, like if I'm working and it's like, hey, can you go do this? No, because when we get up and walk away, at least for me, I can't just come back and pop right back into the zone.
That scene from The Shining, which is like so abusive. I hear that in my head all the time, where he's just typing and Wendy walks in and she's so sweet and she's just like, hey, honey, you getting a lot of writing done? And he's like, I'd get a whole lot more done if you didn't fucking interrupt me. Here's what I need you to understand. Whether you hear me typing in here or whether you don't hear me typing in here, whatever the fuck you hear me doing in here, it's like, I am working. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, I mean, I can completely relate to that. It's like, you love your wife and everything. She comes in and she breaks your concentration. And then it's going to take me time to get back to where I was.
Exactly.
I got the boys upstairs, like, packing up boxes and stuff. And Andrew doesn't bother me at all, but the boys do. I'm up there. I'll be down out drawing. Okay, God. Got his hand done here. I'm drawing a hand. Finally get that right. And I'm like, oh, so I'm starting to feel it. Hey, Ethan, we need a signing. We need a signing up here. And because they're working out of the house right now, because it's just so cold, I want them here. And so they have like the entire dining room is spread out with toys, and I got to go through and sign all the toys with a marker. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, all right, okay, going back to work. 10 minutes later, we need another signing. I got to go back up there again, and I got to fucking sign more toys. Why do I have to sign anything? Why do people want me to sign anything? I'm not going to do it anymore. The idea of signing things, Andy, is a waste of time. Why am I signing everything? Let me put my name. Let me my symbol that looks like a swastika on everything. I don't think it's necessary. But it breaks up my day. Like, I'll be down here trying to draw, and I got to get up, got to go upstairs, got to do some autographs, come back down, do the same thing. My focus is like scattered and broken up all the time.
That's how my Monday was, because we had major plumbing issues over here. So no pun intended. It was a shit show over here on Monday with the plumbing stuff I was going through. So I totally get it.
Yeah, don't volunteer to sign anything as a perk. Yes, Geek Avenger, I'm telling you, it's over with. Oh, it's over. It's it's just the worst in the world to sign. It's like so mindless, demeaning.
There you go.
Stacks of books that you're signing. It's like, what is this? No wonder Stan Lee flipped out the way he did. It's like, I think about Stan Lee. Stan Lee, just my fans, line them up and bring me a Tommy gun. It's like, Jesus. Like, I didn't get it then. I get it now.
I hear you. All right, man, we're going to wrap it up. What's this one? Come on, guys. I'd love to meet someone in real life who says he draws comics. It's hard to find artists online. I hear you. Well, that's what conventions are for. C2E2 for this guy. What do you got coming up? Are you doing a trash cast tonight?
Yeah, I guess I got to do that. I'm going to take a nap. I'll probably wake up and do a little trash cast around 8 p.m. And, it's fun. I love trash cast. Trashcast is a blast. It's doing great. We have somewhere close to 3,000 live viewers every night, and cool. It really is. It's good. It's nice to just unload on some of these bastards, which is what my channel was to begin with. It's just me unloading on the fucking comic book industry. Just being able to say what I want to say. I don't care, anymore. It's like
no, it's cool. Well, definitely go check out Ethan's campaigns. We've posted links. Kor-Drath. Let me slide these over this way. There we go. Kor-Drath the Awakening sign-up page is live. Link in the description below. Sign up, back the book, get the free Adriana trading card that'll go beautifully with the Little Enough trading card from the first campaign, and front of the line shipping, which means when we start fulfillment, your book and stuff will go out within the first week. So go sign up for that. That link is in the description below. We will be launching it beginning of April. So
April Fool's Day.
Stay tuned. That's what we're looking for.
Yep.
So there you go. Ethan, once again, man, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. Really appreciated it.
It was fun.
I know how busy you are, so really did. If you wouldn't mind hanging back for the back room after we sign off for a couple seconds, that'd be cool. Guys, we'll be back next Wednesday. We'll drop a movie review on Friday. Got to figure out what the hell we're seeing Thursday night. And there you go. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much for the super chats. If I had a hat on, big tip of the hat to Ethan for that shout out in the beginning of the show for it. And we will see you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Live long and prosper.
Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. This book features 52 pages of some of my favorite full pencils that I did for other companies over the past 2 decades. The raw pencils as they were seen by the inker, and now you can see them for the first time. This book also comes in a digital format so you can practice your inking in your favorite program.
Back it today.